We're doing good. We're doing good.
I just struggled a little bit with the link. I had to go directly to the app and enter the whole thing because it was saying the address was wrong.
On the Zoom link?
Yes. So maybe the other drivers are having a little bit of struggle as well.
Yeah, for me it was a little bit weird, but it didn't ask me for that. It just logged me out, and then I had to like log back in.
Oh, I think it's the weather because it's crazy today.
I see quite a few people in here that's logged in already, which is good. Over 10.
Oh, okay, good.
I'll keep adding as they join, and I'll just keep an eye out for those that are trying to join in and admit them.
Okay, I'm gonna put myself on mute.
Okay, real quick, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, hold on. Hey, Aaron, Ian, you're gonna do the updates, or I will do the updates?
Who?
Huh?
You.
Okay. Okay, I will do them when Aaron says it's okay to do them.
Okay, we'll get started. I had this video, it's on a loop, which is pretty interesting, but if you see this video, not sure where this is at, but somebody captured this disconnect, maybe at a rest stop somewhere, but it's FedEx trucks pulling out of their spot and have a disconnect. It's pretty interesting. No chains hooked up. Probably didn't do a tug test. I don't even know if he had his air brakes and stuff hooked up, lines hooked up, but you can't clearly see it in the video. But this one, luckily, nothing bad happened after this because the trailer just dropped straight down and stopped because he wasn't going that fast. But people are always watching. They posted this on TikTok and kind of made a joke about it. I put it on mute, but you know, so this, who knows how far this went around online, but it's just a reminder that one, people are always watching, and two, the safety of yourself and the public is so important because this could have been really, really bad. But so just keep that in mind. I know as over the next 8 weeks, everyone will be rushed and stressed to get trailers moving from one point to another because it's peak season. And these type of things are more likely to occur when you're more focused on getting to your destination than doing the little things to keep you safe. So in these times, even though it can get busy, just focus on your training, focus on the foundation that you built, and focus on the safety of you and your partner as well as the public, because there's nothing worse than to get an accident this time of year around Christmas time. And the weather's, up and down in certain parts of the country. And ultimately, something bad could happen where you could potentially lose your job. So it's just not something that is worth doing just because we didn't feel like double checking before we took off. So just keep that in mind. It's a great video, great reminder for a Monday as you get ready to start your week, no doubt today or tomorrow, to head out to different runs. But don't forget the basics. Don't forget the foundation that you have, because it could save your life. So with that being said, we're going to segue into some of the other topics as we go into the winter weather. Dave's going to talk about a few things, and then Xenia can do the updates.
Good morning, everybody. I wanted to talk to you today about a couple of things. One is speed, and the other one is distractions. I don't know if you've been in your vehicle and run into the same people that at the stop sign that went past you, beating from the last stop sign or the last stoplight. It has been consistently calculated that an average speed is the best speed. Speeding between lights and speeding between stop signs does not give you an advantage in terms of getting to where you're going to go. You're talking about saving a few seconds, and the cost of that can be a little more than a few seconds if you have to stop and if you've had an accident and have to fill out paperwork and insurance forms. There's a bunch of things that. So speeding is not necessarily a good thing in terms of time, saving time. It doesn't save you that much. It's not worth it. But the other thing is, when the faster you go, the more likely you are to have an accident, if you have an accident, that is more serious. Fatal accidents can happen as low as 35 miles an hour. So, and as you increase that mileage, the severity or the chances of being hurt even more seriously are not just doubled or tripled, but they can be quadrupled. Okay, so speeding is something you really need to watch in terms of what you're doing. So tailgating and speeding are even worse. You need to regulate your stopping distances and your stopping time by giving yourself plenty of room. Stopping distance is a combination of three different times. One is recognition, and that is realizing that you have to stop. The second one is your reaction time, the time it takes you to your brain to go, wait, I need to put my foot on the brake, or I need to turn the wheel, or whatever, that reaction time. And then the actual braking distance, braking time. Those are all your stopping distances. And they are all critical in terms of what you're doing. At 55 miles an hour, that can be as much as 430 feet, which is probably 4 times the distance of a set of doubles. Okay, within 1 second. That's the time. Within 1 second, you can travel that far. You need to be able to stop reasonably without running into the back of or running into someone else who is maybe pulling in front of you because they're not paying attention either. Stopping distances are dependent on your not tailgating. If you give yourself plenty of room and plenty of time to stop, then when something happens or something that occurs that is unexpected, then you have time to avoid having an accident. Professional drivers are required to know that they are to compensate for people on the road who are not professional drivers. I was a member of the Accident Review Committee for the American Truckers Association for several years, and I was chairman for a couple of years. And that was the thing that a lot of drivers don't recognize, is that they've put in a form that says, this accident was not my fault. It's not your fault, but you are required as a professional driver to account for the things that other drivers who are not professionals can do wrong. So you need to think about, when you go past a ramp, is that person going to give me room? Is that person going to pull down in front of me? You need to be constantly alert to what's going on. And that leads me into the second part of what I was talking about, and that is distractions. There are 3 kinds of distractions. There's the visual distraction, which is someone who is doing something on the side of the road, like another accident, or someone who is repairing a tire, or a truck, or a sign that is flashing, or a billboard of some kind, or anything that is visual outside of the traffic zone that takes your mind away from what you're doing. And then there's the manual distractions. That is your reaching for coffee, reaching for something to eat, changing the radio, cell phones, ringing, those kinds of things. Anything that you are physically doing in the truck that takes your mind away from what you're actually doing while your truck is driving, going down the road at considerable speed. All of those contribute to that. The last one is the cognitive distractions. Cognitive distractions are thinking about something that happened this weekend, thinking about what you're going to do next week, thinking about what radio station you want to listen to, daydreaming, so to speak. Just not paying attention to what's going on the road. Those are the three kinds of distractions. And all of those distractions contribute to your following distance, and the part of the following distance called recognition. Being able to recognize that you are in a situation where you have to stop, or you're going to have to do something to avoid an issue. So distractions are those things that keep you from being aware, being present in the truck while you're driving. Okay. Those mistakes that can be made from that can be fatal. And I'm going to give you an example of, I don't know if I've told you about, my company was involved last January in an accident that was a fatality. The driver was proven by the NTSB that because he was really paying attention and not doing the things that we talked about and was traveling at a safe speed, that he actually prevented people from being killed. Now, there were people killed, but it was not his fault. He was exonerated very quickly from that because we had video. And what did he do? He was traveling on the road in the rain, and the speed limit was 70 miles an hour. He dropped down to 55 in the rain. Small thing, you think, maybe, but it wasn't. A bus had overturned in front of him and was laying on its side across the road. He recognized, and this was at night, he recognized that there was an object in the road. He slowed down, and when he actually made contact with the bus, he was only doing 12 miles an hour. So at night, your recognition distance increases because you don't see as well. So he knew that at night in the rain, he needed to decrease his speed, which he did. Now, there was a UPS truck behind him that was doing approximately 70 miles an hour and ran into the back of our truck. That's the difference. Being aware constantly of what it is that you are doing. If you're going to eat a sandwich, make sure that the sandwich is someplace where you can take a bite, put it down, and pay attention to what's going on. You can't drive with it in your hands all the time. You need to be still able to look at the mirrors to see what's going on, to pay attention to what's going on around you. If you need to take a drink, same thing. You take a drink when you know you've checked and everything is okay. There's nobody next to you. You're in a straight line. Everything is okay. Take a drink, put it down. Okay. One of the things that I ask my drivers' families to do is to not call them while they're on the road. It's very difficult for a driver to not answer the phone when a family member calls, because what's the thing? Family member calls, oh, it's an emergency. There's something that I have to do. And what I tell the driver, what I tell the family members are that unless it's really, really serious, don't call them. Have them call you at their breaks, okay? But do not call them on the road because they have to pay attention. Now, if it is serious, call and say, pull over, okay? Don't text them while they're driving or while they're driving. Same thing. All of these things, the radio, phone calls, things that you're eating, the distractions on the side of the road, all of these contribute to your stopping distance, increases your stopping distance because it interferes with your recognition part of the stopping distance, and recognizing that you are in a place is one of the most important things. I have seen many times where truck drivers have been doing stuff down the road and the truck in front of them has already stopped. And they were looking down or they were doing something, and all of a sudden they look up and the truck is stopped when it was moving before, and they have to slam on the brakes because that following distance, that stopping distance has decreased, and they weren't even aware of it because they were distracted. There is no such thing as multitasking. You cannot do several things at once. What your mind does is it takes part of this second to do this, then it shifts part of the second to do that, part of the second to do that, part of the second to do that. And then it goes back and forth between those things. Your mind goes back and forth between those things. There is no such thing as multitasking. You're either driving or you're not. Okay, so watch your distances. Pay attention to your distractions. Try to avoid distraction. That's my safety for today. Does anybody have any questions?
If anybody has questions, you have to unmute your line before you speak or ask the question.
Let me add one more thing here, because I missed that. I forgot. But one of the things that we in the ATA, one of the things that we discovered was that distracted driving results in about 6,000 to 7,000 deaths a year and 500,000 injuries. So you really need to think about that. 6,000 deaths nationwide, 6,000 deaths and 500,000 injuries due to distracted driving. Okay, that's how important it is. Any questions?
Well, thank you, David. We appreciate it. It was great information. Those statistics at the end are just mind-blowing. And I don't want to say scary so much, but it definitely eye-opening and sobering. But
yes,
okay.
Especially when you consider that half the people out there are driving while texting or while looking at their phones.
Right. Yes, sir. All right, Xenia, I have the updates up if you want to take over.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, for the FedEx updates, we just want to remind everyone that we count on you from peak season, and it's from October to January. That's a FedEx peak season. And then the other thing that they gave us an update was on the accidents they had, like kind of last month in this region, and there were 3 in 1 week. And most of them were related to weather and speeding, on fatigue and not able to stop on time. So a little bit of what David covered in his topic. And now this morning, we just heard that there was another accident and a FedEx tractor was involved as well. So the weather is kind of nasty. Be careful and reduce speed to conditions, because that was their summary when they analyzed those accidents. On those 3, everybody neglected to adjust speed to conditions. So that's very important. The other ones is the Lugmo updates. From November to January, We count on you 100%. So vacation time, remember, will not be approved or paid during that time. The weather is changing drastically, so please check the weather before you plan your trip, reduce speed to conditions, and come back home safe. The other thing that we want to do is this is the time of the year where we celebrate all of you, and we have our team lunch, and we have it scheduled for the Ocala people in November 15, and for the Orlando people in November 16. I will be calling you and sending you the meal choices that you can select from, and then will be November 16 at 11:30 or November 15 at 11:30. Now more than ever, we really need to leave our pledge. Like, think, be alert, and make good choices. Be aware of your surroundings and remember to obey the DOT rules. Make sure that you plan your trips, you are aware of any hazard, and you avoid injuries. Like, think if that action that you're gonna make is necessary and is safe. Above all, be kind, be alert that you're ensuring your safety and the safety of others, and do not compromise safety. It doesn't matter that, I know everybody wants to come back home and do the reset at home, but we need to think if that, like, rushing us, and not following the speed limits is the best choice, or if it's gonna cost our license. Always make good choices and take actions and do what is right, and put always safety first. Speak up if you notice that anything is happening in your truck, out there, let us know so we can address any issue, and do not run risk, okay? Remember that as a professional driver, you are expected to always cooperate and obey any safety rule and procedure, and we count on you and we trust you, okay? Any question? No? Good, so thank you so much. I will be calling you.
All right, everyone. If there's no other questions, have a good week, have a good month, and we'll talk soon.
Oh.